when it goes live tomorrow. Anyway, Ryan A. Raymond here, guys. Thank you guys for joining my channel here. I just had a little blooper there. Did not have any sound for about the first 5 minutes of trying to talk. So tonight I wanted to talk to you guys about 5 things I've learned in my first year on Merch by Amazon. Today is exactly 1 year since I uploaded my first product on Merch. So I kind of want to talk about 5 things I've learned, to set some realistic expectations, kind of have a chat with you guys here, and see how things go. So, great. You guys can hear me. Thank you. That was, I know what mistake I had there. I was changed, as you guys can see, I changed the settings here. So you guys can see the chat, that's live. And I got a little link down here now. It's set up so, on Saturdays I did my first review show where I answered questions from you guys and did t-shirt reviews. So I set up a form at ryanaraymond.com/live. And that is where people can get in line. So Saturday I have some questions and t-shirts to review when I get started. So if you guys want to jump in on that for Saturdays, jump in on that. Anyway, back to 5 things that I really learned this first year. The very first thing is be active in your account every day. You should really make sure that you are touching the account, adjusting t-shirt prices, adjusting titles, keywords, uploading drafts. Amazon really seems to like that aspect of it. Amazon seems to reward activity in the account. So don't just log in and look at it and stare at, if you're using Pretty Merch, a guy sitting there fishing with a 0 number, or, your Analyze tab and it's showing 0 sales. Don't get into that habit. If you're sitting there staring at it, you should be doing something about it. Think about what you can do. Look for that thing that's selling out there that you can sell. Create something new, try something new. So that's really important for your first thing that I think you should know. You got to be active in your account. Number 2, in designing, when you're designing software, use one software. One software is really kind of the biggest important thing that I can think of that helped me out a lot was Over, because I didn't have Illustrator and I didn't know how to use it, and Photoshop. I tried them, for like a month, and it was learning all new stuff. And that's why I went with Over on my phone. And here, let me see if I can do this. And you guys have mentioned that it's hard for you to see my screen, so let me see if this will work here. Made with over.com is probably the best app I have found for the phone. So see if I can zoom that out a little bit, see if that helps you guys see the screen a little bit better as I'm doing these videos. So Over lets you create, it's basically an Illustrator on your phone. It lets you do all sorts of things. But you can do it, import fonts, wherever you get free fonts from, and you can lay out your designs. I've used it in quite a few videos, so you can check that out. So some other things that I've learned is this one didn't do everything I needed it to do, and I incorporated Procreate in with it. So you've seen quite a few of my videos that have those both together. Those have been my power horses for creating designs, my unique designs, the designs I create and sell. Those have been the power horse that's gotten me through. So those are 2 apps that I recommend and they're really easy to learn to use, and there's lots of tutorials out there. So I would recommend checking those ones out. Let me back that sound down a little bit, see if I'm getting too many pops. A little bit more. So Over and Procreate. Those I would say, but if you're using Illustrator, or if you're using Photoshop, or you're using Merch Informer Designer, or you're using Merchinator, or whatever it is you're using, guys, learn it. Figure out how to use it. The more you use it, the better at it you'll get, and the more improved your designs are going to be. And you'll just get better at selling things because you're going to be more familiar with the software, and you're going to know how to make it do what you want it to do. Number 3, get organized. Day 1. If it's Google Sheets that you need to use and store your files in and put them in, and you're writing the listing, copy and paste them over yourself, do that. If it's Airtable, use it. If it's a spreadsheet on your computer, use it. Organize your files, know where your design files are. There is nothing worse than saying, oh shoot, something's selling and I want to reuse something I created in it, and you can't find where you stored it. So make sure you get organized day 1. I probably waited till tier 500 before I started using anything. I was only just uploading my designs and throwing them out there to the world. I would say use um, some sort of software. You can use Airtable for free, and I like it because it integrates with Merch Wizard, which you can do for free. So let me just kind of transition here. You guys probably won't be able to see this, but this is just a massive database of all my files. It's got the product pages, where I have it uploaded to, my BSRs, my sales ratings, my average reviews, number of sales, royalties. I use Merch Wizard, and it helps me track all of this information. You don't have to use it, but I would recommend something, just doing it manually. I use Merch Wizard because it makes it automatic for me. But I definitely recommend that you guys use something to organize your designs. I probably missed out on a lot of sales because I didn't have a file, or when I wanted to move it somewhere, I didn't know how it was written, and then I wrote a different listing for it, and it was a mess. So get organized, get your data in one spot where you know how to get to it, and learn to use the tool that you're storing in it. That gets back to learning the tools. You got to learn what tools you're going to need to be able to do this work. So those are very important things to learn for everyone. What else do we got here? So that brings me to the next kind of concept here. Paid tools are not necessary, but they do help. There are some paid tools, in my opinion, but it depends on what your goals are. What are you wanting to do? If you're just wanting to upload on Amazon, you can use a free image creator. You can use Canva, design some plain text shirts, just upload them and roll with that, and just write the listings and never do anything else. That is completely fine. You guys can do that. There is nothing wrong with it. But I have found adding in some things that help me scale out designs and build a system that helps me grow is beneficial for this. All right, so the next thing on my list is advertising. Be careful with advertising. Advertising can be like gambling. You can spend money trying to push a shirt that's not going to sell. You can easily overspend by overbidding and giving too big of budgets too early before you optimize the ad and know what you're going to be bidding on. Those are some dangerous things that you guys can do. So let's jump over here and kind of give a summary of what my first year on Amazon was. So you guys, let me do all my analysis here. So it runs all the way back. Oh, that's 7 days. Let me do analyze sales for all time. So we're just going to look at the United States right now. I think between UK and Germany, I've sold maybe 30 shirts over there the entire time. Affinity Designer, Joni? Yeah, I have it, but I do own it. I just haven't learned it, and I'm familiar with Procreate and Over. And that kind of goes back to what I was saying. Like, I know these, and I can end up going down this rabbit hole of I learn this software, and I learn this software, and I learn this software, and it can get me down to a point where I'm just like spreading yourself too thin. So don't go too far too fast. Focus in, learn a few things that work, and then move on with it. So here is the monthly sales graph. So you can see my very first month. I uploaded my very first shirt on July 7th. 2018. Today is July 7th, 2019. That shirt sold on July 8th. So my very first sale was July 8th. Throughout July, I sold 85 shirts my first month. That first month, I leveraged family. I leveraged friends. I leveraged social media. I hit up Reddit. I made some posts on Reddit. I made some posts on Facebook. My family held a family reunion, and so I made a one-off shirt. It's not even up anymore, but the copycats are all still up. So those of you guys that deal with that, you know where that comes from. Then some of the other things that happened, was able to kind of leverage audiences I had built. Like, I had built a 14,000 page political oriented page. But I had never sold to them before, and they're really not welcome to be being sold to. Like, I lose followers the day I post something for sale, usually with them. But I was able to leverage them a little bit and get a few sales. So think about where you have influence. things. Who do you know? Who can you talk to? Charities. Can you reach out and offer? So an example, a video I'm going to do later this week is an awareness video as well as kind of a challenge video. You guys will see it later this week. I'm kind of planning it out still. But for example, an autoimmune disease I deal with, at least the current research shows it as an autoimmune disease. We can discuss it later. They're wanting to sell some shirts and get shirts for a website and help generate some awareness for one of the groups that do awareness. So you can talk with people like that, and you never know what you can provide them. Maybe they're hosting an event. Maybe they're hosting something that is going to have a bunch of people to it. For me, it was a family reunion. It worked out really well. My family, we had a bunch of us getting together for a weekend, and a bunch of them bought shirts. There was no obligation for it. And then August came around, and I had 40 sales. So 40 sales in August, and I was still just chugging along. I tiered up fast. This is when early tier ups were still going on, but I got my tier 10 tier up, I think, at 19 sales. I got my tier, so tier 10 to tier 25 at 19 sales. I got up to tier 100 after like 56 sales. It was all during this first rush here, and I got up to tier 100 within my first 2 weeks, and then I was pushing, and at about my 219th sale, it was, so somewhere around here, October, November, is when I got tiered up to tier 500, which was awesome because I got that ready for Q4. And I tried pumping, and I flooded it up there, and it was right as they were cutting off early tier ups for tier 2000. Last year they did that. They might do that again this year. I don't know. They don't do that currently. Right now you still have to sell the amount as your tier. But next year they maybe they'll do early tier ups again this year. It'd be really cool. It's a good reason to keep all your slots filled, especially since now when one design gets put on 12 uploads, it basically made a tier 4000 account less than a tier 500 account as far as your ability to make reach. So that has changed quite a bit. So October, I caught a couple of Halloween shirts started selling in there. November was just kind of the things that had sold were still kind of selling, and I was uploading new things, just trying things and communicating with people, and people were asking me for shirts, so I was able to do that. Then Christmas came. Now, let's look at December, guys. Let me see if I can just pull up December, because there's a few dates we should just look at. Let's look at Q4, a Q4 cycle, because I strongly believe the more Q4 cycles you go through, the better off your account's going to be. So if I come all the way up here to, let's just look at October through December. Sorry. And kind of see what happened in there. So October 1st through December 31st. So let's analyze those sales days. And we'll look at daily. And so for me, being a new seller, I didn't have anything that was already really ranking coming into Q4, coming into the spikes here. Now, I have more sales than what I was getting here, so I'm expecting this to be higher. Like I should say, you shouldn't come to merch with any expectations, but right now I do, I expect my sales to at least maintain, fluctuate, but doing better than 2 or 3 a day on average, like I was back then. Some dates to look for in here: you get Black Friday right after Thanksgiving. For me, Black Friday was not good. Cyber Monday was not good. What was good for me was Green Monday. So most people don't talk about that one, but Green Monday, it's an important date. It was coined by eBay in 2007 to describe the best sales day in December, which is usually the second Monday of December. So let's look at a calendar here quick. So if we go back to the year, the second Monday of December was December 10th. So December 10th. What happened on December 10th for my sales? So December 11th. So, yep, it was right here. I was starting to creep up. It was coming up after Cyber Monday. I sold 15 shirts, and then I sold 11, and then 14, and then on the Green Monday, I had my best day ever to that point. As a new seller, I sold 20 shirts at $67.29 in royalties. I had gotten pop sockets, and pop sockets were starting to sell, and that was my best day. And then made more money the next day. Some higher royalty items, more T-shirts sold, less pop sockets, and I was kind of hovering in this range, and I was really excited. And then I had this day, 32. This is still to this day. This is my best amount of money I made in one day. 32 sales, $117.88 in royalties. Now that I've gotten more products and different pricing things, I've lowered, my amount of royalties here. I don't know if you guys can see this, if it'll help you guys a little bit better, but you can see how it was going. And I haven't had a zero sales day since this one right here, I believe, November 22nd. That was my last zero sales day on merch. So, and in that time, for my first Q4, I did 542 sales, 16 returns, and we'll go back to the previous search of, whoops, we're logged out now. Go back to the all-time. So let that analyze for a second. So yeah, once again, while that's reloading there, anyone got any questions in the chat? Do you guys like the new setup with having the chat in here? Do you want me to get rid of it? I don't know. I was just playing with it to see what I could do and set some things up and make it kind of help you guys interact a little bit. So just going to be playing with it and adjusting. So let me know what you think there. All right, so back to the sales. So what is some information there? So 2,885 sales total for with 77 cancellations. So 2,962 times someone clicked buy something from me. 2,885 times they actually bought it. 77 times it got canceled. And 92 times it got returned, for a total in royalties of $6,963.84 in my first year. My total sales, some people in the merch community, like the NBA community, they want to know what your total sales are. It's $47,515.31 for an average sale royalty of $2.49 per sale. My average sales per day is at 8. I average 1 return a day. My average royalties per day is now up to 1908, and 240 sales a month on average. Average of $580 a month in royalties. My record days was July 4th, just the other day, 39 sales. My record returns was 4 on May 23rd. My record royalties was that December 13th, right after Green Monday. Record months and sales, 606. 23 returns is my record month for May. My best month was $1,276.09 in December. Love to 10x that this year. That's kind of the goal here. Just be doing 10 times more every day here going forward than I did this day last year. That's kind of something I want. Just to be doing 10 times more than I did last year. So other things, unique products sold. So this is an important thing for people to understand on merch. Not everything you upload is going to sell. Like 11.6% of what I currently have live has sold. People think that it's, you're just going to put up 10 shirts and get a sale. For me, on average, that would mean one of those products are going to get a sale. And it's not ever a guarantee. You got to try a lot of things. You got to try new things. It's really important to do that. How did my sales break down? So for the first, I don't think I got pop sockets till December or November. All I had were standard t-shirts for the longest time. And then, when I first started, I didn't even have premiums, hoodies, sweatshirts, any of that, long sleeve. I just had the standard and maybe the premiums. I think I did have the premiums, but I didn't have any of the other products. That's all I had starting at tier 10. So that is where most of my uploads went, was on the standard t-shirts. I've made 1,342 of my sales were standard t-shirts, and that's at 47% of my total sales. So let's see if this zooming in here. I'm trying to be conscious of you guys asking for being able to see better. Looks like I got this kind of off the scene. There we go. So 47% standard t-shirts, 40% pop sockets, 6% premiums, 3% tank tops. So tank tops have only been here a little bit, and I've sold 79 of them. V-necks, I've sold 51, pullovers 43, long sleeves 35. So in order of what I've had the longest, so t-shirts are what I had the longest, then and premiums. Then I got pullover hoodies, long sleeves, and sweatshirts. So for the longest time, standard t-shirts reigned supreme for me. Then I got pop sockets, and pop sockets have done well for me. I posted on my page today on iTunes. Check out Merch Mornings with Diana Eden. She's got a great podcast, and she's like the pop socket queen. She discusses exactly how she researches her pop sockets and what is currently working for her. And it's a new podcast on there, and that's Merch Mornings with Diana Eden. So get that and go subscribe to that podcast on iTunes. It's a great show so far. Looking forward to more if you see this, Diana. Thank you. Anyway, jumping back in here. So fit types, 200 youth, 462 women, and 976 men, with 24% of my sales being on black, 8% on dark heather, 5% on heather blue, 4% on royal blue, 4% on navy. So all of these kind of just depend on the design. But I've sold quite a few on almost everything here. Let's turn that off there. All right. So looking through here, my best performing product did $273 in royalties at $5.36. My second best did 111 sales at $210.38. That was one of my 4th of July shirts, and it was a mashup with flossing, 4th of July eagles, flags, and stuff like that. And it did pretty well this year. The next one is $207, standard t-shirt. Now this one here, sales have stopped entirely. Let's talk about this for a moment. This one here was selling regularly for since I uploaded it. It never got a review until about 2 weeks ago. It got a review, and in that review, 5 other shirts in that niche were all reviewed, all different sellers, but 5 different shirts were purchased, and all of them were reviewed as being horrible and fell apart in the wash, and how they will never buy anything again on Amazon. I don't know. I wrote Amazon. They encouraged me to comment on the review, so I did. I commented and let them know that sometimes screen printing or direct garment printing does fail, and it sounds like they had a trouble with an order, and I encouraged them to return the products, contact Amazon, return, and get a refund. And, maybe they'll change their review, maybe not. But it was a little suspicious that it was like 4 or 5 products all in the same niche. I mean, that makes sense that they would buy, a bunch of shirts like that, and maybe they got a bad order, but they also kind of put their name on it. And yeah, anyway, we're going to move on from that. I'm not calling people out today. All right. So next best product, 207, then 188. So I don't have anything that I necessarily would say is like this breakout that has brought in all the money, and I got this t-shirt I'm going to retire from. My goal is to have a broad, diverse selling, set of products. I want to have a lot of different products that sell all on their own differently. And I want them to be able to organically make sales and use ads. But some of you guys saw a post I made, some of my goals when I started merch. Number one, I wanted to sell 100 different products. I wanted 100 different products in my portfolio to be able to make a sale. Because I said if I can figure out how to sell 100 products over any extended period of time, I can figure out how to sell 100 products in a month. And if I can figure out how to sell 100 products in 1 month, I can figure out how to sell 100 different products in 1 week. And if I can figure out how to do it in 1 week, I can figure out how to do it in a day. If I can figure out how to do it in a day, I can do it in an hour, in a minute, in a second, in theory. So those were the goals I set. I've accomplished 100 different products and 100 different products in a month. Right now might be my best last 7 days of diversity. So let me look at it. 137 total sales, 70 unique products. So no, 83 is my best week, and that was in December. So I'm hoping to be able to crush that here coming up and keep growing. So I've never had a week where I've had 100 different products sell. I've had a bunch of weeks where I've had, 50, somewhere in there. Everything gets one or two, but that's where I'm growing. Anyway, guys, I think I'm going to cut it short. So once again, my 5 things that you guys need to remember: be active in your account every day, learn one design software, make sure you learn it, get good at it, and improve with it. Get organized day one. Paid tools can help, but you don't need them. And advertising can be a little bit like gambling, so be careful when you guys are advertising. Thanks, guys. Subscribe, hit the like bell, hit the like button if you guys enjoyed this, and I'll talk to you